Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well today. Well, let's take a look at the fixed exchange rate system, understand it, and know how to express it using the standard exchange rate diagram. So here we go. All right, well, first of all, we got to establish a definition here. A fixed exchange rate is an exchange rate regime where the value of a currency is fixed or pegged to the value of another currency, to the average value of a selection of currencies, or to the value of some other commodity such as gold. So deciding upon and then maintaining the fixed value of the currency is usually carried out by the government or the central bank, and it's maintained also by the government intervention in the foreign exchange market. Okay, so I used to live in Nicaragua, and the Nicaraguan Cordoba is pegged to the U.S. dollar. So the value of the Nicaraguan currency is directly related to the value of the U.S. dollar, okay, in terms of other currencies. So there are two key terms that you need to know about fixed exchange rates. One is the revaluation of the currency, and the other one is the devaluation of the currency. And these terms are only used when talking about fixed exchange rates. So a revaluation is if the value of the currency is raised, okay? And a devaluation is if the value of the currency is lowered. Okay. So have those two ideas in your head. Now let's take a look at an example. Jocelyn Blink provides us with a great example about Barbadian dollars. So here we go. Okay, so example number one. Let's say that the supply of dollars is increasing on the foreign market. Okay, so this is the price of Barbadian dollars expressed in dollars, and this is the quantity of Barbadian dollars. Okay, so in this situation here, right? The Barbadian dollar has been fixed against the U.S. dollar at an exchange rate, right, of 0.5 since 1975. So one Barbadian dollar equals 50 cents. Okay, so the price of Barbadian dollars expressed in dollars is 50 cents. Okay, and it's been that way for a long time. So 50 cents, a Barbadian dollar costs 50 cents. Okay, so this situation right here, right, shows a situation where the supply of Barbadian dollars is increasing on the foreign exchange market. An increase see the one there, an increase in supply of Barbadian dollars, and this may be caused, for example, by Barbadians purchasing greater amounts of imports, right? So the supply curve therefore shifts from S1 to S2, and there is an excess supply of Barbadian dollars of Q1, Q2. Okay, without government intervention, the exchange rate will fall, right? Naturally, the exchange rate would fall from here to there. You see that? If this were not a fixed exchange rate. So because of the shift from S1 to S2, or S1 to S2, the new value of the Barbadian dollar would be obviously less than 50 cents. Okay. So in order to maintain its fixed exchange rate, the Barbadian government needs to buy up the excess supply of its own currency on foreign exchange markets, thus shifting the supply curve outward from D1 to D2 so that this new equilibrium price is at $0.5 or 50 cents. Okay? And it does this by using previously amassed foreign currencies, usually dollars or maybe the euro. Okay, so the market Barbadians are selling their Barbadian dollars, so there's an increase in supply, which would bring a decrease in the value of the Barbadian dollars, but this is pegged, so they got to keep it that way. So the Barbadian government gets involved in the foreign exchange market, it buys up those extra Barbadian dollars by using U.S. dollars, and then you arrive at a price equilibrium of $0.5 or 50 cents. Okay. So this is a situation where supply moved first and then they had to get involved in demand. So now let's look at a different situation. Okay, this graph shows a situation where the demand for Barbadian dollars is increasing in the foreign exchange market. So the first thing that happened here, right, is that there is an increase in demand for Barbadian dollars. This may be because, for example, by more foreigners wishing to visit Barbados for their holidays, all of a sudden they are demanding more and more Barbadian dollars by selling their dollars maybe, or their euros, or whatever their currency is. So if the government did not get involved, here's S1, right, and here's D1. This is the original equilibrium price-quantity combination. Because demand for Barbadian dollars was going up because of increase in tourism, right, demand shifts outward from D1, D2, and all of a sudden what would happen to the value of the Barbadian dollar? It would go up against the dollar. Without any government intervention, of course, the exchange rate would rise. But to maintain the fixed exchange rate, the Barbadian government needs to sell its own currency, right, on the foreign exchange market in order to satisfy the excess demand, thus shifting the supply curve from S1 to S2, which would then lower the price from something above $0.5 back down to $0.5. And this will increase Barbadian reserves of foreign currencies, right, because now they've bought up, say, dollars. Okay. One other way a fixed exchange rate may be maintained is by making it illegal to trade the currency at any other rate. But this usually leads to problems not only just in the internal black market that might emerge, but also it's a problem sometimes in the foreign exchange market because other governments don't like that. Okay, so there's an example of how the government would get involved. A fixed exchange rate means that the government's going to get involved to keep it where it needs to be, where it wants it to be. And I provided you with both examples, both where supply moved first, then demand, and then where demand moved first, and then supply. Okay, so now let's go on to talk about some advantages of fixed exchange rates. And here they are in green, right? A fixed exchange rate should reduce uncertainty for all economic agents in the country, right? Businesses will be able to plan ahead, and the knowledge that the predicted costs and prices for international trading agreements will not change because the exchange rate will always be the same. So that adds to certainty or reduces uncertainty. Also, another advantage of a fixed exchange rate system, is that exchange rates are fixed, then the inflation may have a very harmful effect on the demand for exports and imports. Because of this, the government is forced to make measures to ensure that inflation is as low as possible in order to keep businesses competitive on the foreign markets. Thus, fixed exchange rate ensures sensible government policies on inflation. So because inflation is inherently, it's sort of a byproduct, right, of a fixed exchange rate system, then you can guarantee that the government will really do everything it can to keep inflation down, and that's an advantage of a fixed exchange rate system. The last one, advantage, is that in theory, the existence of a fixed exchange rate should reduce speculation in the foreign exchange markets. And anytime speculation is down or uncertainty is down, that's better. However, in reality, this has not always been the case, and there are often attempts to destabilize fixed exchange rate systems in order to make speculative gains. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3 advantages of a fixed exchange rate system. And on our last slide, we're going to look at, of course, the disadvantages. Okay, so here are the disadvantages of a fixed exchange rate. Right? The first one is that the government is compelled to keep the exchange rate fixed, obviously. The main way of doing this is through the manipulation of interest rates. However, if the exchange rate is in danger of falling, the government will have to raise interest rates in order to increase demand for the currency. But this will have a deflationary effect on the economy, lowering demand and increasing unemployment. This means that the domestic macroeconomic goal of low unemployment will have to be sacrificed. Okay? Secondly, in order to keep the exchange rate fixed and to instill confidence on the foreign exchange market, a country with a fixed exchange rate has to maintain high levels of foreign reserves in order to make it clear that it is able to defend its currency by the buying and selling of foreign currencies. So setting the level of fixed exchange, so what does that mean? Okay, sorry, I was going on to the next one. What that means is that Barbados, in the example that we had, is going to have to somehow manage to keep a high level of US dollars or euros or some sort of major currency in reserves so that it can prove that if there is an increase in the supply increase in demand, rather, of Barbadian dollars, they can quickly buy up the excess dollars, it's Barbadian dollars, and push the price back down to its fixed rate. Third, setting the level of the fixed exchange rate is not simple. There are many possible variables to take into account, and so the variables will change with time. If the rate is set at the wrong level, then export firms may find that they are not competitive in the foreign markets. In other words, if it's too high, exports, it's better if the exchange rate is low because then it's better that the exchange rate is low, meaning that the Barbadian dollars are cheap. Okay, so if they sell it incorrectly, that can affect the export market. If this is the case, then the exchange rate will have to be devalued again. Finding the exact right level is very difficult. And the last disadvantage of a fixed exchange rate system is that a country that fixes its exchange rate at an artificially low level may create international disagreement. And I talked about this a little bit before. This is because a low exchange rate will make the country's exports more competitive on the world market and may be seen as an unfair trade advantage, and there may be economic disputes or even retaliation. Okay, so when you see, it's kind of confusing because you see low exchange rate. What that means is the Barbadian dollar is cheap, which means that if something's priced in Barbadian dollars, it's going to take fewer US dollars to purchase it. So I live in Chile right now, for example, and when I got here 4 years ago, the exchange rate was 500 Chilean pesos to 1. Now it's a floating system or managed system. Now it's 700 pesos to 1, right? That's a massive change. So what does that mean? It means that if you are holding dollars, you can buy more pesos, which makes Chilean exports, Chilean products abroad more attractive. So because if I have dollars, I can get 700 pesos to 1 instead of 500, I'm going to be more likely to buy Chilean products because I can get them for a lot cheaper. Okay. So I hope that was as clear as possible. Exchange rates can get really confusing. If that didn't make sense, listen to this video again, check your course companion, and I hope you found this video to be helpful, and we'll talk to you in a bit.